What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Movies That Make You podcast, where movies are more than just entertainment, they're a catalyst for meaningful conversations. I'm Jonathan Sprang, I go by Sprang, and most weeks we dive into movies to watch in preparation for new releases hitting theaters. But we don't stop there. We explore the morals, the deeper ideas, and the life lessons these films have to offer. Today we're discussing Captain America, A Brave New World. All of this is because that's dropping this Friday. Sam Wilson is now our Captain America, so we're going to journey through the stories that we saw him in first, starting with Captain America Winter Soldier, then Civil War, then Infinity War, and then Endgame. We're going to talk about the main points of Captain's story and what he means to us. We're going to touch on a little bit of the show from Disney Plus, Falcon and Winter Soldier, because that's where the transition happened, where Falcon became Captain America. So we're looking forward to Sam Wilson being Cap, and this is the episode we prepared for that. I wanted to let you know we've got a new website up called bio.site/movies that make you. That's bio.site/movies that make you. That's where you can find all the links to our Instagram, to our YouTube channel, to our Spotify, to Apple Podcasts, even to our Letterboxd, where you can find all of our lists for the movies that make you laugh, cry, or scream, and everything in between. We hope you'll drop us a line on Instagram, shoot us a message, let us know the movies that have made an impact on your life. Before we get to this week's episode, here's the next 4 weeks on the Movies That Make You podcast. Next week, we got Papa Gosh joining us. We're going to be talking about 4 movies in preparation for The Monkey, which hits theaters that week. It's a Stephen King short story, and so we're going to be talking about 2 movies that have to do with dolls wreaking havoc, 1 movie that's based off of another Stephen King short story, and then also a movie that was directed by the director, which is last year's mega hit, Longlegs, with Nicolas Cage. The week after that, we're going to be talking about movies, people trapped underwater in preparation for The Last Breath with Woody Harrelson. We're going to be talking about Kristen Stewart's underwater movie and also 47 Meters Down starring Mandy Moore. We all talk about a lot of the fears that we've had with water or the experience we've had with water, and so that's going to be a lot of fun too. The boys really got into that discussion. The week after that, we've got my brother-in-law back on the show, Kevin. He was on a Robin Williams episode. We're going to be talking about Bong Joon-ho movies in preparation for Mickey 17. Looks super interesting. In order to prep ourselves for what this director offers us in these stories, we're going to be watching 3 of his movies, the most recent one being Parasite, which he won the Academy Award. The week after that, we're going to be talking about Spies and Soderbergh. Steven Soderbergh has a new movie coming out called Black Bag, where it's a couple dealing with some sort of spy situation. And so we're going to be talking about some spy relationships, but also a couple of Steven Soderbergh films. Most recently, Presence, which we just saw in theaters. Hope those episodes excite you. So without further ado, let's get to the podcast. We are back with another episode of the Movies That Make You podcast. I'm Sprang, and I'm joined by the 4 boys. Let's run it down, oldest to youngest.
I'm Connor, I'm 14.
I'm Jacob, and I'm 14.
Colton, I'm 12 and a half.
I'm Ezekiel, and I'm almost 11 and a half.
Very nice. And this is going to be a fun episode. We did a Marvel recap episode. I think we did our top 5 Marvel movies at one point. But this one, we're going to focus in on 5 or 6 movies within this series, all to gear up for Captain America, A Brave New World. But before we do that, let's check in real quick. Connor, how's life going, buddy?
Good. I just started my driving courses, and I'm doing that now.
Very nice. Any other projects you're working on?
I got my subwoofer, 2 subwoofers, and Amazon said it's not here yet, but it just arrived, so I don't know if I'd tell them it's here or what. And I got a new car game for practicing driving.
Very nice. Jacob, how about you? How's this week going for you?
It's going pretty good. I made some soup today. It was good.
Very cool. Hey, Colton, what about you, bud?
It's going pretty good. I've been saving up money. I have $126. So it.
No, you
Wait,
don't.
it
You
doesn't
like
have to be
20.
true. The viewers just want to hear it.
No, they don't
we're not
care.
lying.
I have $23.50, and it's going pretty good. I'm saving up for a new house.
All right. Zeke, what about you with your double, triple chin?
He looks like Peter Griffin.
Anyways, pretty good. I got like $88 in the old money schmoocher thingy. So, in the dad bank. So, I guess life's going pretty good. Yeah.
Anything fun at school?
No, not really. Well, the dance is coming up. I don't have a date yet.
Very cool. Yeah, life's going pretty good for us. Just at the house, just doing work, trying to make sure everything's going well there. Nothing too crazy. Got the podcast going. We're on video, so that's fun. Actually, was looking at the podcast schedule today, trying to make sure we've got guests on for the episodes we aren't doing with the boys. We are postponing our Rocky episode. I don't know exactly when, probably in a few months, but yeah, it'll be actually a bonus episode and a bonus series. We're going to do one short episode for each movie, and including a bunch of like breakouts and pop outs and stuff for reels on Instagram. So be sure to check that out. It's going to be a lot of fun. That's all going to be with our good friend Nick Hot Coals Shepard. So pretty awesome. We're prepping for Captain America Brave New World, but we're going to be talking about some of the Captain America movies and where we get introduced to Sam Wilson, who is the new Captain America. He joined the story in Captain America Winter Soldier. We pick up with Captain America following the Battle of New York, where the Chitauri came. Thanos had sent them to the Earth. Loki was his kind of person that was going to lead the army to destroy the Earth so that he could destroy at least half the Earth. That's his goal. So we pick it up following Battle of New York. Opening scenes got one of the greatest little scenes here to introduce us to Sam Wilson. He's running around in Washington D.C. and Captain America runs past him and says, "What does he say?"
On your left.
Yep. So then it picks up and Sam's still running and Cap says,
On your left.
"Yep." And he's continuing to lap Sam on this run. So that's kind of a fun introduction that we get to Sam Wilson as he ends up partnering with Cap and Black Widow later on in the film. But basically what we come to find out is that Nick Fury has been trying to coordinate these ships that are going to be able to spot when crimes are going to happen before they happen and take out bad guys before they actually commit the crimes. Captain America doesn't like that idea. He says that's not freedom, that's fear. One of the best lines of the film. So then it ends up putting Captain America somewhat against S.H.I.E.L.D. What we find out is that what's the evil organization?
Hydra.
Hydra. Yeah, what we find out is that Hydra has infiltrated the S.H.I.E.L.D. organization since almost its inception, all the way dating back to right after the first Captain America film. And so they've just been infiltrating, and now they're basically showing their hand, and they're going to try and take down the world, and take out all the good guys, take out everybody that's a superhuman, and then they'll rule the world. So Captain America finds some of this out, and he actually one of the best scenes. I'm not going to give it away because we're going to talk about it later probably, but one of the best fight scenes in the whole series is in this film. And then, so they end up running away. Black Widow, Cap figure this out. They're going to try and find out what's going on. One of the things they find out is that Bucky, who fell out of a train in the first Captain America movie, it's Cap's best friend since they were little, is actually still alive. He's been being used as a assassin for Hydra, and he now doesn't have an arm, so he has a metal arm, and they call him the Winter Soldier. So he doesn't remember Cap at all, and so that this movie, Cap's trying to save him and try to turn him back into the Bucky that he knew. And by the end of the film, they have a huge battle as well on one of those ships that ends up crashing down. But Captain America saves the day as we expected. But this is kind of a lot of cool things. Sam Wilson as Falcon, Winter Soldier. Also has Robert Redford as the head of S.H.I.E.L.D., but also we find out, of course, that he's the head of Hydra as well. So this is one of the first movies that Marvel really was kind of trying to play outside of like just a straight up superhero film. A lot of people called this like a kind of a spy thriller within the superhero genre. So it really kind of pushed some boundaries. One other thing of note is this is the first time that the Russo brothers directed a film in the Marvel Universe. They ended up directing all the films that we're talking about today, and they're coming back to direct Avengers Doomsday in a couple years. So pretty awesome film. So Colton, you said you really like this film. What's one of your favorite moments? Why the face?
I don't think I was the one who said that.
You literally said it's a pretty cool movie.
It's cool because there's this guy who's like really Sigma, and he like tied someone upside down, and then he put a tub of water, and then he started pouring water.
Wasn't that?
No.
That was
No.
Civil War, wasn't it?
That was in Civil War.
Are you sure? Because it was the same guy who hypnotized Bucky
Yeah.
and used the thing.
Yep. That's absolutely right. And that was Captain America's Civil War.
What?
Yep.
I've been lied to. Oh, okay.
Stop.
Well, that was my favorite part. So.
That wasn't in. Okay.
Where that was in that movie? What?
Connor, what about you? What's your favorite part about the Captain America Winter Soldier movie?
Oh, wait, this I can't remember either. So I was like, what movie did we watch?
It was the one where they were all fighting on the ships and they were trying to get the little like devices in.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was the same movie.
I thought
That was
the same
the
movie.
ending. The climax of Civil War is them fighting in the airport and fighting against the other Avengers. That's Captain America Civil War. That's where we get introduced to
Yeah.
Baron von
He's right.
Zemo.
I think my favorite part is whenever they're fighting on the ships because everything's happening at once and it's super tense.
Nice. How about you, Zeke?
Oh, right. When they found out about Hydra, like they were like, there's this green guy and a computer, and he's like, I was a scientist of Hydra.
Yep, that they went down into the kind of the secret part of the
Organization.
Yeah, Shield. They went to the Shield, like the original Shield, and then they found the secret like Hydra base underneath it. But that same bunker comes up in Endgame as well. So I thought that was a pretty cool callback as well. All right, Jacob, what about you?
Well, like I think my favorite moments were like when Captain America was trying to get Bucky back because he knew that Bucky was Winter Soldier, but he didn't know. Just like kind of that back and forth between himself.
My favorite part was probably when he was like fighting Bucky and they were like fighting, and then he was trying to put the chip in, but then he couldn't put the chip in, and then he put it in.
All right. Well, you all failed that assignment. So the best part of Captain America Winter Soldier are the elevator fight when Captain America is chasing after Bucky and throws his shield at him and Bucky turns around and catches it. Those scenes are crazy. Captain America jumping his bike over a helicopter and taking down the helicopter at the same time. Like that was thinking that big. Like when he's trying to stop Bucky from leaving and he has to grab the side of the helicopter and grab the landing station and he's like trying to hold the helicopter down. Like so many crazy epic moments. Who else do we also catch up with one other character that plays a pretty pivotal role in the first movie.
I know it. Nick Fury.
Yeah, but
He was
that's
like
not who I was talking about. He was not in the first movie.
Can I explain Nick Fury part though first?
Okay, real quick.
So he was like getting shot at by the cops, and they were not letting back. They're like pew 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 pew, and then Winter Soldier comes up and like plants a bomb on his car, and it explodes. But somehow he gets out alive. And then Winter Soldier jumps him in Captain America's house. Yeah, he died. And then I guess somebody got his reboot card because he was like alive when he met them again.
Yep, that was good.
I was going to answer the question. Wasn't it Agent Carter? Like the OG?
Yes,
Agent
good call.
Carter? Yeah.
Good job.
Yep. And then we find out in actually Captain America Civil War that she has a granddaughter, Sharon Carter, that ends up playing a pivotal role in Winter Soldier and Civil War, and then also the Falcon and Winter Soldier show. All right, cool. So let's go ahead and rate it. What you got, Colton?
4.5.
4.5. Okay.
4.
Connor. All right. Zeke, please.
5.4.
5.4.
Wait,
You can't do that.
4.5.
4.5. Okay.
4.5.
Jacob, 4.5. All right. I actually rated it a
Connor,
4.5 as well. So that's.
Connor broke the streak. He gave it a 4.
It's all right.
Everybody point and laugh.
All right. So one thing of note before we jump into Civil War, Avengers: Age of Ultron was in between the two films. Colton, do you want to share what happened in Age of Ultron that matters to Captain America?
Yeah. So Hulk goes away until what's it?
Thor Ragnarok.
Infinity War. So
Right. Both,
that's what I heard was the first thing. And then oh come on. Now I look like okay, never mind.
Bum.
Bro, I had everything in my mind and then it just like
Vision?
I was okay, you can do it.
Yeah, Vision is introduced. Yes, Wanda is introduced also, and she plays a big role in Civil War. Absolutely. So the one I was going to mention was that we find out that Tony Hawk. I'm sorry,
Tony Hawk.
Tony Hawk is a really good skater. No, Tony Stark and Captain America have a difference of opinion about what it means to protect the Earth, and it starts to show itself in Age of Ultron, and that's like a precursor to what happens in Civil War. So the big thing that Tony was scared of in Ultron was he had a vision since New York of Thanos coming to destroy the world, and so he wanted to put a suit of armor around the world. That's what he said in Age of Ultron. That comes back to big time in Endgame. And so they have this big argument about it because Tony wants to use force to keep people from hurting each other, and Cap basically has realized, like, you can't force people to be good. Like, you have to give them the choice. So it very, very interesting. It's like they both want the same thing, but they're trying to go about it a different way. That sets up Civil War.
I know a
What do
cool
you know?
scene.
What's
Captain
that?
America grabs Thor's hammer.
That's in the end game.
When?
Yeah, that's
Wait,
an
Wait,
endgame.
it was an end game too, but they were like all at a table, and then they're drinking beer, and then they were playing a game who can lift Thor's hammer, and then Captain America did it.
he
He
didn't.
didn't do it.
He didn't lift it, but it moved a little bit, which is also a precursor to Endgame. Very cool. So that kind of sets us up to Captain America Civil War. Well, the movie begins with Captain America, Falcon, Wanda, and Black Widow all trying to do this mission together to try to stop these people that have some attack, some plan bomb attack or whatever. And Crossbones, who basically gets destroyed in Captain America Winter Soldier at the very end, he is there, but he's all masked up and he's got a suit on and everything. But he's a suicide bomber, and Wanda grabs it, lifts it up into the air, but ends up, because she's still new to using her magic, it ends up destroying part of a building. A lot of innocent people died. So that kind of triggers the fact that Tony works a deal with Thunderbolt Ross to basically have the Sokovia Accords, which are basically asking the Avengers to be at the mercy of the American government. So they will only go places where American government thinks they should go, and they can't just be freelance. Cap doesn't like that because he knows what it's like to be under the control of a government, because then you can only help the people that they think you should. So he wants to be able to help everybody. Tony wants to do it because he's like, we need to be put in check. We need to stop hurting people when we can afford it. So again, same idea. They both want to help people, but they're trying to go about it different ways. So we get introduced to a couple other cool characters in this film.
It's Spider-Man.
Yes, it's Spider-Man. Really epic introduction too, when he grabs Cap's shield in the middle of the battle. Underoos! Yeah, it's pretty awesome. They basically find out that Bucky was the one that killed Tony's parents, and that ends up sending Tony over the edge, and he fights against Bucky and Cap in the final battle. And the whole point, all of this was all set up by Von Zemo, and he basically just wanted to make the heroes basically fight against each other. And he said, I can break them down from the inside. So yeah, he found a book that they used to brainwash Bucky, and so he used it and turned Bucky against him, kind of in the beginning of the movie. But you thought he was going to take his own life, but there was another character that was introduced in this film.
Another one?
Connor.
I know it.
Okay.
Black Panther.
Go ahead. Yes, Black Panther. Black Panther is also introduced in the film, and so he ends up, kind of choosing sides and all that, but ends up seeing Von Zemo trying to take his life, and he just arrests him instead, saying, like, you can't just take your life. You can't go out that cheaply. You got to suffer the consequences. All right, so that's a little bit of Civil War.
By the way, his dad dies like right whenever he comes into the movie on kills.
That's true. That's how he kicked off the battle to kind of split the Avengers up, because he pretended it was Bucky, and everybody thought it was Bucky that did it, but Bucky didn't. So Cap is fighting against everybody trying to save Bucky.
Bucky didn't do it.
All right, let's go. Favorite parts. Connor, you go first. Favorite part of Civil War.
I just remembered something, so I wasn't thinking about that. So you know
Go
how
ahead.
they went
Say
back
it.
in
Whatever you were
time
thinking.
and Thanos, or no,
Yeah. In Endgame, yeah.
Iron Man, when they lost and stuff. What if they were like, I've played these games before.
I've played these games before.
All right, Connor, what is your favorite part of Civil War?
I think no, that's a different one. I think I'm gonna say it and tell me if I'm correct. Tony goes.
Guys, please stop dancing.
Tony goes to Spider-Man's house and he like talks to him and his mom or his. Okay,
And yeah,
I think my favorite part is like seeing his room and stuff because he has so much stuff I like. That's pretty cool. He has like a Macintosh.
like what? A bunch of analog equipment. Yeah, the older stuff for sure. All right, Zeke, what was your favorite part of Civil War?
Probably when Spider-Man was like the funniest part. Actually, I have two favorite parts. One of them is the funniest part for me. It's like, you have a metal arm? That's so cool. Oh.
Yeah, that was pretty epic.
And my favorite part was just Spider-Man being there. He is a comedic genius.
All right, Colton, what about you? Favorite part?
Just all the interactions between what's his name, Spider-Man and Tony Stark. It's humorous. It's humorous and true.
You just think Spider-Man's
Quote
cute,
from Young
right?
Sheldon, please watch it. We are not sponsored yet.
Okay, Jacob, what about you?
I think whenever they're all fighting and then Spider-Man calls out Empire Strikes Back, he's like, you know that one scene in Empire Strikes Back where he ties down the big old AT or something, and then he brings Ant-Man down.
Yeah, when Ant-Man became Superman, no, what does he call it?
Colossal Titan.
Yeah, he becomes big instead of little. Yeah, that was pretty awesome. Giant Man, there it is, Giant Man. Yeah, and that was going to be one of my favorite parts too. I thought the whole airport scene was really just epic from an action standpoint. But I thought that the dynamics of the team as they're trying to go through this internal battle between themselves, trying to figure out what's the best path to take, and they all pick sides. That's heartbreaking because you never want to see your friends kind of split up, but you can understand it from all sides. So let's kind of go around the room and just say which side would you be on. Zeke, how about you go first?
I say this like it's subscribed down in the corner. Anyways, my favorite side would probably, I want to have freedom, but I also want to have supervision because I like having a helicopter parent who's like always on my case. Kind of like you.
Okay.
But
okay.
I would.
So you'd be on Team Tony?
Yeah, Tony's just more charismatic for me. Captain America is like a serious guy. Tony's more humorous.
Well, it's what side you feel
Okay.
like is the better side, not what side you like.
Tony's.
Like, I want to be on the side because Captain America's on the side. I wouldn't do that.
I want to.
Okay, what would you say, Colton?
Well, first, since Zeke started off with a sponsor, I do want to too. Go subscribe. So what's his name? Papa Gus or something like that?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, go subscribe to him. He's pretty cool. And I would probably pick Team Tony because I would rather save the people with government supervision than save the people illegally and then be a bad guy.
What? Okay.
Okay. I think he just means because Cap didn't sign, he's now a fugitive. Yeah. But you got to think about it too, like from a philosophical standpoint of which person is giving the best argument. Jacob, what do you think?
I think Captain America. I'd be on Cap's side.
Why?
Because, I mean, yes, you do need some protection from people that are like super bad, but the majority of people aren't going to be terrorists. So, free world.
Connor, what about you? Which side would you choose?
Probably Tony Stark. Not because of the character, because I feel like it's right. Because then they're just going to be bad guys. If they choose Captain America, they're just going to be bad guys. They won't turn into bad.
All right. So the correct answer, no, I'm just kidding. My answer would be Captain America. Knowing how governments operate and knowing that being a soldier and just going where you're told and doing what you're being told to do, it takes some of the individuality and the freedoms away from doing what you think is right because you just have to follow orders. So that's why I would choose Cap's side. All right. Let's go ahead and rate it. Captain America Civil War. Connor, why don't you go first?
A 4.
Okay. Colton. Okay. Zeke.
5, but only because there's Spider-Man.
Okay. Jacob.
4.5.
Okay. And
Okay, never mind.
And I actually gave it a 5. So that's me. So very good. All right. So that actually, I think one of the coolest things about rewatching them and just kind of these Captain America movies is this jump right here. Because at the end of Civil War, Tony and Cap are at odds with each other. They're separated from each other. Tony even tells him to leave his shield behind. So he doesn't have his shield. So Captain America is no longer Captain America. And so they haven't talked. The Cap takes this one group to Wakanda. They're trying to help Bucky get better, get rid of all of the brainwashing, also get him a new arm, which we're going to find out in Infinity War. He gets a new arm, but also just the fact that they've been distant and they don't know where they're going, or they don't know where each other are. But Cap did give Tony a little like flip phone with his number on it if he ever wanted to call. So then you get to Infinity War, and it opens with Thanos already taking down all of Asgard, basically, at least half of Asgard in the ship. We see Thor is all tied up. Loki is just standing there. Loki ends up getting killed. Hulk goes at Thanos and beats him up a little bit, and then Thanos destroys him. Heimdall sends him to Earth, and when he shows up at Earth, he changes back into Bruce Banner. And he tells Tony, why don't you just call Cap? Thanos is coming. Just call Cap. He's like, the bandits broke up. Like, we're done. He's like, broke up like the Beatles? Funny line. But then please don't do that again, Colton. So then Doctor Strange, it's the first time Doctor Strange is meeting Tony Stark. And that's kind of a cool, fun interaction too, because they both are super like know-it-alls, and so they are at odds with each other at first, but then they end up working together. They end up following Children of Thanos. Doctor Strange gets captured because he has the stone on him, but then Tony and Spider-Man end up getting in the ship and helping them. So they're on their way to meet Thanos on Titan, and the other group is still on Earth trying to figure out a way that they can protect Vision from getting captured because he has the Mind Stone. So they know that they can try and stop those two things, and that's kind of the rest of the movie. They kind of spin on these opposite sides. The Guardians catch up with Thor, and then that's some funny interactions too. And then Thor and Rocket and Groot have to go get a new hammer. What's the name of that hammer that he gets? That's the axe.
Stormbreaker. Jinx.
Stormbreaker. Yes, they go and get Stormbreaker. That was a really cool moment too. Meanwhile, they land on Titan. But one of the big key moments of this movie is that Doctor Strange uses the Time Stone to see all possible futures, where he tries to find the one that will win. What was the number of times that futures that he saw?
14 million?
Yeah, 14 million something. Yeah. And then one time they win. So that becomes a key part of the end game as well. Thanos ends up at Titan, ends up fighting against that half of the group, basically destroys them. And then the other half of the group is on Earth in Wakanda, and they're fighting off the armies of Thanos. And then Thor shows up with Stormbreaker and does some amazing cool stuff there. But then Thanos shows up and basically takes out every single person that comes at him. Even when Wanda destroys the Mind Stone, he just reverses time and breaks it out. He snaps his fingers, half the population becomes dust. And that also is a big deal as we get into Endgame as well. Cool. All right. So who wants to share first about their favorite moments of Infinity War?
I remember one specific one. Where is Gamora? I'll do you one better. Who is Gamora? I'll do you one better. Why is Gamora?
Yeah, that's a great one. I use that regularly in real life. Jacob, what about you?
I don't know. I mean, there were a lot of good moments. I think just the relationship between Tony and Peter Parker, because like Tony's like a little kid, you know, like, and then Peter Parker's all like googly eyed looking at Tony Stark. I don't know. It's just funny.
He's like in Dreamland. He's like he looks up to Mr. Stark as like the best friend he's always wanted to have.
I think he flew from a portal or something. He flew, hit him in his like chest, and then Thanos said you should have aimed for the head, and then he left.
Yeah. And snapped his fingers. That ends up playing big time into Endgame for sure. All right. So one of my favorite parts is when they're fighting on Titan, and they're trying to, they come up with a great plan. Strange is using all the portals and all that stuff, and they're jumping in and out, and all the people are coming and hitting Thanos. He doesn't know where anybody's coming from. They get close to getting the gauntlet off, and then Peter Quill has to go and ruin all of it because Thanos killed Gamora in order to get the Soul Stone. So after he does that, Thanos just goes in beast mode and just destroys everybody with no matter what they did. And the most epic moment of all for me in that battle was that he grabbed one of the moons of Titan and pulled it down and basically pulled everything and had it hitting Tony Stark, and he had to try and dodge moon parts. So that's pretty epic. I think also the funny part of the Guardians of the Galaxy when they're talking about Thor laying on the bed there and like, what's up with this dude? And Drax says, he's not a dude. You're a dude. He's a man. He looks like a pirate made by angels. Just so funny.
Drax is so silly.
Any other parts that you liked about Infinity War? Anybody else?
When all of Thanos' minions are like raiding Wakanda and there's like a barrier, and then Black Panther says, open this part, and then they all start going at him. That was pretty cool. And then like,
yeah, because they're just like plowing through the barrier, like not caring about their life or anything. That's great.
And then like Black Panther's like suit blowing up every like 10 seconds or something. It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Oh, one that comes to mind is when Wanda finally hits the battlefield and she like takes one of those like big like combine things and like protects the other ladies, but then throws it on the bad guys. That was pretty epic. Yep. Infinity War, one of the key things about Infinity War is that it's basically Thanos' origin story. And so that's what it gives a lot of backstory to Thanos and how his vision to destroy half the world is kind of actually coming from a place of making sure everybody has enough, but he's also going about it the wrong way. So it's kind of like those are some of the scariest villains is when they have a good like reason for doing what they're doing and they think that they're the hero. That's when you really need to be scared, because people that have that complex, they're really hard to change their mind. So cool. Let's go ahead and rate it. Let's go, Connor. Infinity War.
4.
4. Okay.
I'd give it 5 stars.
Well, I actually gave it a 5 as well. I think it's one of the better films. It's the best of them. I'd say it's better than Endgame from a movie standpoint. But even though I like Endgame better because of all that Endgame does, but I think Infinity War is seen by many as being a better put together film and more interesting because you're getting Thanos' backstory, because there's this kind of it ends on a cliffhanger and it's just all that stuff. So let's jump into Endgame. This is the last movie that we're going to talk about.
So it starts off with everybody being dead, but half the world. And then it shows Hawkeye with his family, and then his mom asked if anybody wants mustard or mayo. Like, what? On hot dogs? Seriously? No.
Who puts mayo on a hot dog?
And then he looks back and everybody's gone. And then it shows he's in the ship with Nebula, and they're playing football, and then Nebula wins. So then Tony's about to die, but then Captain Marvel comes to save them. And they go and kill Thanos, and then they come back because Thanos says he destroyed all the stones. They're like, no, that can't be possible, blah, 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 nobody cares. And then they think of a way to go get the stones. They figure out that Ant-Man can go back in time, but they decide they should do someone else. And then they find out everybody can go, but they only have one try. So Thor goes back to the Queen's palace. Rocket Raccoon's with them.
Black Widow.
And then Black Widow jumps, or no, Hawkeye jumps, but the Black Widow catches him, and then Black Widow like sacrifices herself, like GGRP. So or GGLWP. So he gets the Soul Stone, and then what's it? Nebula and the guy with the pew-pews on the side.
Brody.
This is the worst one because Nebula finds other Nebula. But it's fine because they get the stone. But Nebula stays, and the guy with the pew-pews on the side leaves with the stone. And then Thanos finds out all this, and he decides he wants to go to the future. So they all come back. They completed their mission. They got the stones. They make this gauntlet, put the stones on it, give it to a big Hulk guy. He snaps his fingers right before taking it off because he got cooked, literally. It's a joke. It's humorous because he got cooked, yeah. All right, so he brings back the rest of the people, but then Thanos comes. Wait, did I skip anything?
Yeah, a lot, but that's okay. Just keep going. We'll pick it up on everybody's favorite parts.
Thanos comes. He attacks everybody. Pew, pew, pew. And then they're all like in the, what's it called? Rubble. So in the rubble, they get out, and Hawkeye has the, what's it called?
Gauntlet.
The big gauntlet thing. And it was a big epic fight scene with Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor. They all fight together. And then Thanos breaks Captain America's shield. And like, oh, blah, blah. And then Doctor Strange does a, and then he brings back everybody, and then they're all fighting. Epic fight scene until Thanos gets the gauntlet, but then he snaps his finger. It didn't work.
No.
Iron Man has the gauntlet, and he says, "I am Iron Man." Ugh. Oh, what a scene! And then all of the bad guys die, and Thanos dies too. So everybody's happy and like, yippee, yippee. It was a 3-hour movie, and I said,
But Iron Man's dead.
What?
Iron Man is dead.
Yep.
Oh yeah, Iron Man died. I forgot about that.
You
But like,
forgot the most important part.
you know what's crazy? I
Is
just
that
summed up
Little
a
Saber fade?
3-hour movie in 5 minutes. Thank you, thank you. No need to thank me. I'm just doing my job.
Yeah, that was a really good breakdown, Colton. Thank you very much. There was a couple of things that we wanted to touch on too. On that is that Captain America and Tony, Hulk, and Ant-Man all go to New York during the Battle of New York. They are trying to get the spear, the scepter from that was Loki's scepter, also the Tesseract, and then but in the process they lose the Tesseract, and Loki jumps off with it. So they got to figure out another way that they're going to get the Tesseract. And they remember that there's a spot, there's a time when Hank Pym is at the, he's the original Ant-Man. He is at the SHIELD base, as well as Tony Stark's dad is at the SHIELD base. So they go back to that time period and get it from there. But it's a really cool interaction where Tony gets to talk to his dad, which he hasn't seen in a long time, especially, because of the previous movie when he saw Bucky kill his dad. It brought closure to that relationship, and that was a really beautiful moment. Yeah, you touched on Black Widow dying, sacrificing herself. That was a really crazy moment and very touching to get the Soul Stone. And I think one of the other crazy things is that they went back to the time period of Thor, The Dark World, which was probably one of the least favorite of all the Marvel films up to that point. And they used that timeline to basically bring healing to Thor. He got to see his mom again. He got to get Mjolnir, which made it really epic in the final battle when he had Mjolnir and Stormbreaker, and they're about to go after Thanos, and he has the lightning show up, and it actually braids his beard and all that stuff. That was pretty awesome. But then also in the final battle, you've got Captain America picking up Mjolnir and fighting Thanos with it as if he's used it all along. That was just super epic. Yeah, so let's go ahead and get into favorite moments. Connor, what about you? What's your favorite moment of Endgame?
I know this one. There's a lot of things. Probably whenever everybody comes through the portal.
Yeah, that is an epic moment. Zeke, what about you?
I actually have 2 favorite moments, like I always do. When Hulk was like, smash a few things on them.
That was pretty funny. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, and what's your second one?
My other favorite one was like, this is really the one? It was either this or a tree.
Jacob, how about you?
I think my favorite moment. Oh, there's so many good ones.
Just say your favorite moments. It doesn't have to
I
be
like
one.
when we see Thor again, and he's all fat, and he drinks beer, and he's playing Fortnite with his friends, and then he's like, "You hush up, noob master." That was pretty funny. And then I think another one of my favorite moments is when Ant-Man is looking out and he sees all the birds and he's like, "Guys, it worked." And then Thanos' ship is over top, and then we get to see how big it is and how big it was, like massive, and it just all shoots down on that was pretty. That was like such a like contrasting moment because you had like the peaceful moment of the birds, and then Thanos raining down on everyone.
It worked!
Pretty.
What's that in the
crazy.
sky?
What about you, Colton?
Probably when Iron Man says, "I am Iron Man." Like, we all know that, but it's still cool. Like, I am Spider-Man. We know that. Like,
Okay.
So what is that? What was that calling back to?
Thanos said, "I am inevitable," and then he got one pumped by. What's his name?
Okay, so yeah, that was a response to "I am inevitable." But what's the callback? So one of the crazy things about Endgame is that it's pointing back to all the movies that came before it in very unique ways. So do you remember what "I am Iron Man" is from?
Lightning McQueen.
I know this.
Anybody else know what the callback is?
I don't.
Me neither.
Wait, what was it?
What's the callback? What is it? Why does it matter that Tony said I am Iron Man? What is that calling back to?
I know another callback.
Okay, what's
Whenever
another
all the
callback?
portals opened, someone said on your left.
Yes, good. That's a great callback. Yes, that was Falcon said on your left to Cap.
I know
Jacob,
another
go
one.
ahead.
The song that was playing when Captain America and Agent Carter were dancing, that was the same song that was playing when Nick Fury was in Captain America's apartment and they met, and then Nick got shot.
Yep. So the Iron Man callback is at the very end of the first Iron Man movie. Tony's holding a press conference to talk about like that. He's turned over a new leaf. He's not going to make weapons anymore, and he's going to deny that he's Iron Man. And then at the last second, he sits down and goes, "I am Iron Man." So it's a callback to that moment. So another cool thing about that moment is that moment did not get filmed in principal photography. So when they were first filming the scene, Tony just looked at him and snapped his fingers, and they were editing the film. So they'd gotten everything done, CG, acting, everything, music, all done. And the editor goes to the Russo brothers and says, Tony really just needs to say, after Thanos says, "I am inevitable," we need to hear Tony say, "I am Iron Man." And they called Robert Downey Jr. up and asked him to come back. And at first he said no because he didn't want to get in that headspace again, because he had to be in a really dark place to like be in that emotional moment. But he eventually said yes and came back and gave us one of the best moments of all movies of all time. I mean, it's just crazy epic moment. I think one of my favorite moments, I mean, the entire final battle scene, the build up to the final battle scene, the three of those guys fighting Thanos, which was Thor, Captain, and Iron Man fighting against Thanos, and then when they're all about to die, like Colton said, the shield is busted. Captain stands up, tightens it around his arm again, and he's about to go fight him all by himself, and it shows him against the entire Thanos army on the other side of the chasm. And then, like Connor said, he hears "on your left," and then the portals open and all that stuff. And then we see everybody from the entire MCU, even including Howard the Duck, shows up. Everybody shows up. And then at the very end, Cap says, "Avengers!" And then he pulls Mjolnir, assemble. It's just epic
I
beginning
didn't
to that
see Howard
fight
the
for
Duck.
sure. Yeah, we'll have
We'll have
to
to do that another time.
yeah, we'll have to do a clip out, show you where that is. All right, last thing that we need to do is talk through real quickly. So at the end of Endgame, Cap shows up. He actually is supposed to take all of the stones back to their original spot so that they don't mess up any timelines. And then he ends up staying in 1942 and basically lives out his life with Captain Carter or with Agent Carter. And then when they do that, so when he shows up at the end when they're waiting for him, he shows up on the bench and he's actually his old age, old Cap, and he gives the shield to Falcon. So Sam is now the new Captain America. But in the series, just trying to summarize it as fast as we can, they bring in another guy to be Captain America, and he turns out to not be a great person, because when he takes the serum, he ends up being evil and just violent, and he doesn't have that good heart that Cap had. So when he takes the serum, it makes him evil. So Sam and Bucky are trying to basically take down this organization that's terrorizing people along the way. They work with Von Zemo for a little bit, and then Von Zemo ends up, of course, being captured, being put back in jail, and he's still killing people even while he's in jail. But by the end of the film, Wakanda helps Sam get a new Falcon suit that's red, white, and blue. He's got the shield, and at the end of the series, he's Captain America, and that leads us right into Brave New World. One of the other characters I wanted to bring up is that there's an older guy that basically used to be one of the army guys and one of the superheroes that told Sam that he basically, like, you can't be a person of color and be a superhero because they'll never take you seriously. So he actually plays a big role in Brave New World. From the trailers, what we can tell, something happens to him where he ends up attacking the president, which is Thunderbolt Ross, played by Harrison Ford in this film. And then Sam has to figure out what's going on. So really mysterious, really cool. But anybody else have any thoughts or favorite moments or things you remember from the series?
I remember it being good. I feel like we need to watch them again, because now you got me in like a Marvel mood. Now I want to watch all the Marvel stuff again.
I'm just gonna watch all the Spider-Man stuff. I'm a Peter Parker guy.
I think for me, the biggest takeaway from that series was how dark that Captain America got when they brought that guy in and he fought all these guys and then ended up killing somebody with the shield. And it was like this epic moment where there's blood on the shield and it's like this. It shows how much he's not Steve Rogers.
After watching that, I was like, that is insane because it was so deep. Felt so.
Mhm.
It's a
Yeah, it was a
teen movie, but it felt like 18.
Yeah. It definitely went darker. It went more kind of grounded, more showing some more darkness in the characters for sure. But of course, you love seeing Bucky and Sam getting to be friends and all that stuff in that series. And it sets up this movie really well. And we have a new Captain America and it's Sam Wilson. And I'm so excited for that. So cool. We won't do favorite parts because it was a long time ago and we don't necessarily remember everything. But we'll just say, anybody want to rate this series?
I'll give it a 4.5.
Connor, how about you?
4.5.
Okay, Zeke.
4.5. I can do math.
I'll
That's
match
it.
you.
Colton?
I'll match you.
It's all done.
All right, so everybody gives it a 4.5. I think I'd give it a 4.5 also. I
First
thought it was
time
really
in
good.
podcast history.
Epic.
We didn't rate Endgame.
All right, real quick, let's rate Endgame. Thank you, Colton, for calling it out. Colton, why don't you go first? Rate Endgame.
4.5.
Okay.
This one was pretty good, so I give it a 5.
Okay, I'm actually gonna focus. A 4.5. I did it!
Cool. Jacob.
5.
Okay. I gave it a 4.5. A little less than Infinity War as a movie, but man, it's I like it better, but I don't know. I give it a 5 too. Let's just give it a 5, Jacob. That's fine. All right. Thanks everybody for listening and watching. We'll catch you next time.
What's going on, dude? What in the world? I'm out.
Chicken cheese bake.
Thanks so much for clicking on the link and following us and following the podcast. This means a lot that you would join us every single week. We hope you enjoyed this episode. I know we enjoyed having the conversation. And don't forget, you can check all of our links, all of our sites at bio.site/movies that make you. That's bio.site/movies that make you. You can find our Instagram, our Apple podcast, our Spotify podcast, even our letterbox with all of our lists on there. You can find all of that at bio.site/movies that make you. Thanks so much, and until next time, keep watching movies.